for many Black people, it doesn't matter what your sexuality is because you're Black. Like, that's the big thing.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so Blackness in general, we can understand as, they say it in the academy, always already queer, right? It's always deviant. We're allowed to organize ourselves without acknowledgement of the white gaze, G-A-Z-E and G-A-Y-S. We're allowed to organize ourselves without acknowledgement of the white gaze, G-A-Z-E and G-A-Y-S. We're allowed to look at our own queer Black history and keep surfacing it and investigating it and riffing on it. Like, we have our own cultural references that we're allowed to explore. And that's been so invigorating for me as well, because one of the parameters I put around Busy Being Black at the beginning was all of my guests will only be queer Black or queer of color. And then I read a book in which, these Black queer activists were saying that it actually makes more sense for queer Black people to form political solidarities that are not based on sexuality or skin color, but rather based on class and political position. And one of the examples was Black women. And Blackness in general, we can understand as, they say it in the academy, always already queer, right? It's always deviant, and it doesn't, for many Black people, it doesn't matter what your sexuality is because you're Black. Like, that's the big thing.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so that the point of that essay was that, are you aligned with white gay men who left you behind during marriage equality? Or are you aligned with the Black woman who's getting ignored by the system and who also needs healthcare like you do? And so I was like,
The way
oh,
you're
that's really
thinking.
interesting. Let me kick open these doors a little bit and start inviting people into conversations less about sexuality and more about and skin color, and more about what can we as queer Black people learn about how to live more fully, with more aliveness, with more wildness. And so that's how the show's developed since then.
I love it. Is it not like I always find it interesting, like do you want to keep that kind of intersectionality separate, or do you think there's so much shared experience that it doesn't matter that it's people of color? Because you wanted to start off with just having Black guests or people of color, and I always find that quite interesting because obviously Black people's experience, I mean, everyone of color's experience is different and nuanced, isn't it? But Black people's experience specifically, I feel like, is much more, unique in comparison to other people of color. Did you ever think about that while you were like deciding which guests or what conversations to have?
Yeah, I mean, that was the premise, was that we need more spaces where queer Black people get to talk about what matters to us,
Yeah.
and which isn't about trauma, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
part of the limitation of being Black in public, never mind queer and Black,
Yeah.
is that we're always supposed to have a response to discrimination or something to say about freedom.
Mm.
And
It's always about our struggle
it's
and
always a struggle.
yeah.
And one of the things that doesn't happen is, we don't get what racism did you experience today? Like, that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
And it might be sometimes where something particularly heinous happens and we need someone to talk to, but it's not natural for us as Black people and queer Black people to say, "Yeah, talk to me about a time you experienced racism." It's so unnatural.
Yeah.
And that's an experience that we have when we enter into predominantly white spaces, that we're supposed to perform our trauma. And my thing is, if the performance of our trauma was the solution, we would probably be fine by now. Like,
Yeah.
we've been doing this for
We've been through
quite some time. And so what does it mean to refuse to orient ourselves to begin there? And the question I open every conversation with is, how's your heart? And that is a very spacious question because it allows people to be literal. I can feel it beating in my chest right now. Or it can be emotional. I'm feeling a lot of grief. I'm feeling a lot of joy. I'm feeling quite fizzy. And that gives me a way to then orient myself in the conversation and kind of take us wherever we need to go. And so I guess I'm trying to get to the point I'm trying to make is that Busy Being Black is first and foremost an invitation towards joy and intimacy. Like, you don't have to be the beleaguered Black here. You can be joyful and artistic and creative, or angry and belligerent. Like, that spaciousness is here.
Because of white spaces, they clump POC together.
Yeah.
Do you think sometimes there's a danger of POC people doing that themselves? So like having Black people and POCs, is it because they have a shared experience that you want that's the guest that you wanted? Or do you think there's enough of a nuance to say, actually, I just want black guests. I don't necessarily need POC in general's perspective on these things because they all have
Oh, I
their
see. I
intersections. Do you know
see.
what I mean?
As a queer black person, I should be able to speak to a queer black person about queer black things. Like that's a non-negotiable. But there are experiences that we all have as humans, a desire for intimacy, for touch, for belonging, love, relationships, how to evolve, or spiritual health that transcend race, right? That are a part of the human experience, right? And I think there's something about identity politics being so focused on my experience as because of my skin color and not on my experience as a human animal. Like I have needs like everybody else that must be met,
Mm,
otherwise the shit's going to keep happening. And if I can't connect my experience as a human animal to yours because you're a different color than me, like that is the problem,
mm,
right?
mm,
And so these, when you get beneath all that, right, then it's like, okay, so what can you teach me about what it means to be human is for me a much more generative question than what do you know about being black?
right.
I wouldn't approach you with that, you
Mm,
know? And so I think that applies to black people too, right? And this is my point about racism is that let's take allyship, for example. I find this so wild. Black people are asked all the time, like, well, what do you need? And Toni Morrison was like, I'm not a victim. What do you mean? What do I need? You know what I mean? Like, why don't we ask black people what it means to be an ally? Like, why are we always the ones needing allyship? I was like, well, I'm an ally to trans people and to women. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm okay. Like, don't worry about me. Like, I'm busy being an ally to someone else. And so I think there's this kind of perspective shift is really important. And that can only happen when you kind of step away from the kind of the surface level, which is
Yeah.